Experts say GOP targets trans to keep evangelicals voting. Recently, Republican politicians have been pushing anti-trans bills more than ever before. While many Republicans don't care about transgender issues one way or another, studies show that the GOP is heavily dependent on the evangelical vote in order to win elections. The religious right's hard lines on social issues such as abortion, LGBTQ+ rights, and religion-based educational standards makes these key issues campaign platforms for Republican politicians looking to be voted into office. What do we say about that?
This doesn't surprise me. We've seen this time and time again. There is a large overlap between conservative religions and the Republican Party. That's just how it is. My family, I come from a family that is religious, and I have seen it myself, that their beliefs do overlap similarly. And I think the fact that they keep playing into these I'm not saying that.
Evangelical.
Evangelicals.
We'll just say evil. We'll say evil.
Maybe it's
evil.
evil.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, these religious people, they have to keep playing into that. And I hate when people like to use their religion as an excuse to be hateful, when religion is supposed to be a loving and open thing, you know? And I really wish that they'd separate that, you know? Like it's like not all religions are against LGBTQ+ people.
Right.
So that's where their main votes are coming from. And I think the reason people fear things is because they don't understand it.
Yeah.
So I think the best way to go about it is like, the way to get their votes is we have to inform these religious groups in who we are and that we're not the enemy. So that way we can slowly, it's like taking them, we're infiltrating their brains and taking them apart from the inside. That's
I think it was Stalin who said religion is the opiates of the people. Ooh. And that is still relevant in this day and age, you know. It's very persuasive, you know.
You know, the whole thing of separation between church and state, and it doesn't go that way, especially lately. I remember growing up, my father was Republican, my mom is a Democrat, and I'm a Democrat. But I remember that it wasn't as blurred back then, like or I should say mixed with the religious right, far right, and the very conservative. You could be a Republican and not be an evangelical, you know?
Right.
But it just seems like lately, especially in recent years, it's more of that.
Overlap.
Like, yeah, the overlap. Yeah, exactly.
One thing that I will say that actually shocked me, which is that, again, you know, people, I said this before, people are going to do things in politics to get the popular vote, which stinks. But I will say that I do feel that this issue over time could change, because I, you know, was in a church, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, and I couldn't believe that they had like a LGBTQ+ group, and I'm like, wow. And over the news, I'm seeing more and more celebrities who identify as very religious are coming into the community. So I think over time, as acceptance gets better and more people come into the community, this might, you know, blur itself out a little bit. So I hope, again, with time, as more people, more acceptance come about, that this, and it's politics, so there are going to be problems. Today it's this, you know, what's it going to be like
tomorrow?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I think it's church by church. I mean, I belong to a wonderful spiritual center that's very accepting of LGBTQ, the Center for Spiritual Living, and I think it's church by church, and little by little, when other churches see like churches like mine accepting and embracing our community, you know,
Right.
it's
And for me, I don't want to poo-poo over all Republicans. I have really close friends that are Republicans, family members, and they're very respectful. I think it's just the more extreme right, you know, Republicans that has, I guess, been the new thing over the last couple of years.
We could talk about this forever,
I know.
but I
We
know you have another story for us.
LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire